Okay, you're all set.
Good morning, everyone. So welcome to our presentation and information session about our ELD department and supporting teachers. And we're going to be talking about integrated and designated ELD. We'll be doing just an overview on that. All right, so on our agenda today, we're going to be quickly going through our mission and vision. We'll talk about our language acquisition program, integrated ELD, designated ELD using Lexia and through our live sessions, EL designation, LPAC, ELD services, opting out of EL services, reclassification criteria for the review process, the role of the coordinator and the ST. We're gonna go over some of our celebrations, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So our mission and vision here at Compass it's our North Star. In other words, it's our guide. So a key word within our mission and vision that stands out to me is the word inspire. And inspire means to fill someone with the urge or ability to do something or feel something, especially something that is creative. Well, that is what I feel we do here at Compass through our personalized education by creating a collaborative community that creates successful lifelong learners. And just like the mission and vision is our North Star that keeps us on track, our Arctic values of achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication help us establish a foundation for building the atmosphere that we want to foster here. And this is why we model and we share our core values within our EL sessions. I know that there's a lot on this slide, and I know I've broken every single rule for slides, but the purpose of all this information is for you to be able to go back and look at this because it's all there for you. I can't tell you how often I get questions regarding our language acquisition program. Just this week, I've already gotten 2. Very, very important. We are a structured English immersion school, okay? What does that mean? What is structured English immersion? First, it's classroom instruction in English. It's curriculum that's presented and designed for scholars who are learning English, meaning we provide integrated ELD. What is that? Those SADI strategies, differentiation, scaffolding, and that helps our scholars access content, right? Access the curriculum. All scholars that have RFEP'd within 4 years, those scholars continue to receive integrated ELD by their supervising teachers. Also, ELs, this is when necessary and when it's absolutely needed, they can receive support. So when we say support, it's not instruction, it's support. It's like a scaffold in their primary language when necessary. Also, when necessary, scholars may also access supplemental materials, not the curriculum, but supplemental materials in their primary language that can help them better access their curriculum in the content areas, right? And scholars also receive designated ELD through Lexia, through our Core 5 for our TK to 5th graders, Power Up 6 to 12, and our Lexia English, that is for our newcomers, and that's for our TK to 12th grade scholars, right? And through our live sessions with the tutors, right? And what structured English immersion is not. It is not a bilingual program. It is not a dual immersion program. So I hope that's helped clarify any questions that come up. And I'm always available to help address any further questions or just to further elaborate on that. So I've also included here a slide that has the most frequently used acronyms and vocabulary that's related to English learners. This is more for your reference, so I'm not going to go over this slide because we have a lot more to go over, but it's here for you to revisit and review. So integrated and designated ELD work in tandem. They work together to support our English learners. Integrated ELD is provided to English learners throughout the school day, and it's provided across all those subject areas, those content areas, and it works in tandem with the California ELD standards. So those standards work together with the Common Core standards and content area standards to ensure that scholars have access to curriculum and to help them strengthen their abilities to use English to learn content through English, right? And also, they're provided with designated ELD. This is a protected time during the school day. We do this through our ELD course. And the ELD standards are used to help ELs develop critical language skills that they need for content learning. How is this done through Lexia? Well, Lexia is aligned to the ELD standards. So all of those lessons that they're seeing are aligned to the standards. And we also consider the ELD standards when we're planning our live sessions. So all of that's considered and embedded within the lessons that our scholars are receiving in designated ELD. Now, integrated ELD, basically that's teachers providing that language clarification and support with language acquisition in content area lessons, right? And ELs, it's really important for ELs to learn academic language in the content area. Really important for them to be able to access the curriculum. And teachers use those ELD standards along with the ELA and other, the Common Core standards, other content area standards when they're putting their lessons together, right? And what you may be wondering, okay, well, what is integrated ELD? What does it look like? Well, if I were to observe a lesson, I would be watching to see how the teacher is delivering the lesson and what scaffolds is that teacher using alongside those standards, right, that are embedded within the lesson. So what could that look like? Providing visuals. And these are just examples. It's not all of them. There's so much more. But when I think of visuals, I think of graphic organizers, right? Total physical response. Are they using movement or cues? Could be even through facial expression so that the language is understandable. Are they using realia, vocabulary? Vocabulary could be in the form of a Freire model, and that's also using a graphic organizer. So you can see everything overlaps. Are they using repetition? Are they reviewing? Are they using SEDAI, which is that specially designed academic instruction, right, for scholars? So that's our integrated, and that's basically just good teaching. Now, with our designated ELD, what does that look like? Well, it's offered through Lexia. And as I mentioned before, Lexia, it's already embedded that differentiated instruction, scaffolded lessons, and prompting. Core 5 and Power Up offers instructions, just the instructions in the native language. And I believe the native languages that are offered are, I believe it's Spanish, Mandarin, Haitian Creole, Vietnamese, and Portuguese. Those are the languages that Lexia has right now. They may have added more each year. They kind of add, they may add or remove. Oh, and Arabic is the other one. I knew there was one I was forgetting. Also, like I mentioned, we have a course dedicated to our designated ELD. That's kind of that protected time that they have that meets that criteria. And I get a lot of questions regarding the grades. It is a pass or fail course, and for our for our 9th to 12th graders, they do earn 5 credits towards an elective. Okay, that's another question that I get very often. What's new this year is that I will be the teacher of record for the ELD course, and I will be the person entering the grades in the SIS at the end of fall semester and spring. So that's good news for teachers. That's gonna take some work off their plate. We know that Lexia provides reporting tools to track and monitor scholar progress, and it's really key for to support our data collection. And it also provides learning coaches and teachers just real-time performance data, and it helps pinpoint those areas that scholars need help in, those learning gaps. It's really good. It's because it's constantly assessing them. So teachers can get an updated view of what are those skills that scholars need in order to be successful in ELA. And let's see, that's pretty much it. Just that it helps us identify those gaps and strengthen our intervention in helping them, right? Now, our team that is supporting our English learners is, well, of course, myself, and we have Fatima. Fatima works with our TK to 8th grade scholars, and Gina works with our 6th to 12th grade scholars. They do overlap with our 6th to 8th graders. Fatima works with our emergent scholars, our emergent English learners, and Gina works with our intermediate to advanced 6th to 8th grade scholars. So if you're wondering, what groups they're working with, those are the groups that they work with, and they're always available if you need any help or if you want to ask them any questions. All of us, we're always available. Okay, our live support sessions, we have some new information that's coming, that's for this year, which is really exciting. I'm really excited about that. And we're actually doing this alongside Melissa's team with intervention, so that's really fun. And I'll get to that in just a minute. So our sessions will begin August 29th. Just like last year, we're starting the first day, and we have found that is really important to start from day one. Scholars are engaged, they start working sooner, and they really take it seriously. Our sessions are live, interactive, virtual, which focus on listening, speaking, reading, and writing to support the annual summit of LPAC, as well as our ELD standards. Scholars, this is nothing new, but scholars are required to log in using their CCS email for the virtual sessions that are held via Zoom, and I believe that's the same school-wide. That's something that's was implemented several years ago. We're going to continue to offer incentives for engagement. We have those raffles with certificates and celebrations, and what's new is that we're going to be offering that async element. So they're going to be able to watch those Nearpod recordings asynchronous, and it's for those scholars who miss or cannot attend the live session. So we're offering another opportunity for them to engage, which is really important. We want to include everyone. All right, so another question that I often get, and actually this is a question that another question that I got this week regarding EL designation. So this is another very, very common question. So how are scholars identified? Well, first thing is, any scholar who enrolls in school, who's new to school, either that they are a kindergartner entering school for the first time in California, or they're coming from out of state, or they're coming from out of the country, they fill out a home language survey. These are scholars who have no CalPAD records at all. So they're new, they're coming in, they fill out the home language survey, and if they put on the home language survey that the scholar's primary language is a language other than English, or a language other than English is spoken in the home, then that scholar must be assessed for English language proficiency with the initial LPAC, okay? And it's really the initial LPAC that is going to determine their designation. It's not because the parent put that another language other than English. That only flags them that they need to be assessed with the LPAC. So that once they take that test and it's determined that they are an English learner, or they take the test and they're fluent, so they're an IFEP, they're an initial fluent English proficient, they're not an EL, right? It could determine that they're not an EL as well, and that happens a lot too. Then they become an English learner. Now, next slide. This is where the question comes up. Let me give the example of the question that I got just a couple days ago. The question was that they spoke with the learning coach, and the learning coach said that, oh, they accidentally put that a different language other than English on their home language survey, and that the kid is really not an English learner, right? The scholar's not an English learner, and we need to change that. The problem is that we can't make those changes once they've been, for example, this scholar that I'm talking about in my example was designated at a prior school. This is a new scholar to Compass in 2011. There's nothing we can do at that point. That's the only thing that scholar can do is reclassify. So we can help them to see what is the criteria they're not meeting. Either it be the LPAC, or they're not getting a C or better in their English grades, or they're not meeting the benchmarks either through CASP or STAR or whatever, you know, in our school it's going to be CASP or STAR, but right now the only time that a correction can be made is when a scholar is new here to Compass. They're a kindergartner, or they're new to California or the country, and parent filled out the English language, the home language survey, and they put a language other than English. They can make a correction before January 31st, meaning before that the summative LPAC window opens up. Once they take the summative LPAC that spring of their first year of entry, we can't make anything after that. Before that, we can. So that's really important when, you know, as coordinators or directors, when you get these questions from your STs, it's really important to find out, when was this scholar designated? Are they new? Did they just come in? Usually if they just come in, we're really on it. Beth is on it. But it's the first thing we have to do is check CalPADS. If that scholar is a long-term English learner, they've been designated for 10 years or 8 years, 5 years, or even 2 years, we can't do anything at that point. And this is like a state law. We just have to go through the process and really help them reclassify and provide that support. Okay, we talked a lot about testing at the retreat. Participation is really crucial. It's crucial for our charter renewal. And it's also crucial to really show the true picture of what our school is doing, right? We're doing great, but participation makes us look like we're not doing that great when we look at the dashboard, right? So for LPAC, we actually need 100% participation. And I already went over that, you know, we know that the initial LPAC, they're only going to take that once when they first come in. And then the summative, they take that yearly, and that's how we track their progress. So it's really key for us to make sure that all of our English learners are tested and they complete their LPAC. Now, our EL designation in the SIS, we're looking for that red asterisk. The red is our English learners. It's our EL population. A solid red asterisk means they're EL. A half asterisk to the right is an RFEP. And I believe that red asterisk for the RFEPs is going to be there for about 4 years. I believe after 4 years, I believe the asterisk will go away. It's my understanding. Why is that? Because we're supposed to be providing that integrated support. They're not an EL anymore, but we're still monitoring them for 4 years from the time they're reclassified. A left means that those are to be determined scholars. Those are those scholars that need to get that initial LPAC to determine their designation. And I know that in the CIS sometimes there's been times that they're showing like a half asterisk to the left. They're showing as to be determined, but they're actually an EL. And I believe those circumstances have been some just one-off errors. And also they're still in pre-enroll status. Sometimes when they're in pre-enroll, that asterisk is not complete. But the best way to check that is to actually click on the red asterisk, click on it. And when you click on it, you're going to find more information on that scholar. You're going to find out, first of all, are they an English learner? Are they an RFEP or are they an IFEP? It's going to give you the date, and it's going to give you more information. You can also see our program. You know, we are English language mainstream classroom that's structured English immersion, and we're designated an integrated ELD instruction, but not primary language instruction. That means that we're a structured English immersion model. Okay. Another question we get is the parents' right to opt out. I'm really happy to say that last year we had 0 opt-outs. This is not something we want to advertise as a choice, because parents really don't understand, and sometimes they'll just do it just because they think they want to get something out of the way, when honestly it's not in the best interest of their scholars. We have seen that in the past, when we have had scholars that opted out, they really don't do well in the LPAC. And most of the time we've seen their scores go down because they're not getting any support, and that's not good for them. So although we have an obligation to serve all of our ELs, you know, parents and guardians of English learners do have the right to decline that service. However, even if they decline that service, they're just declining the designated ELD and the live sessions at our school. They're not declining, let me get some water. Sorry about that. They're not declining designation. They will continue to be designated as ELs, and they still have to take the LPAC. That's not going to go away. And that's why it's really not in their best interest to opt out. The other thing is it puts more on the teacher, because even though the parent opts out, the school is still obligated to provide those services. The parent can come back years later and say, well, they never supported him or her, right? They never did anything for my scholar. And that creates a problem for our school. So it's really important that we work with parents, and if there is a parent that wants to opt out, please refer them to me, and I will talk to them, and then I'll take it from there. I think that's the best way to handle it, because once they really understand what's at play and what is offered, usually the parent will be more open to their scholar getting that support. And we've seen scholars, actually we had a few that were considering opting out. We worked with those scholars and they reclassified. So parent was happy, the scholar got their support, and it was a win-win for everybody. So we've been talking about reclassification. What is that criteria that they have to meet? Well, the first is through the English language proficiency test. So they need to score a 4, an overall 4 on the LPAC. That's the first thing. So they really don't test out. because LPAC is not a pass or fail type of test. It's just showing their level of proficiency. So they have to have a level 4. The next thing they need is, this is through teacher evaluation. So they need to have an English grade that's 75%, meaning a C or a 3 for the elementary scholars. And they need to pass the ELD course. And then the teacher recommendation, do they recommend them to reclassify or not? Next, we always consider the parent. So the parent, we meet with the parent, we meet with the ST. Beth is there because Beth mostly handles this part of it. I am there. We all talk about this scholar and what's in the best interest of the scholar together. And ultimately, the parent makes the decision. So if the parent wants to reclassify them or not. We've had some parents say they want them to continue getting services, and that's fine. And then we look at their benchmarks, their academic achievement. We look at in STAR, are they tier 1 or tier 2? That will qualify them. Or in CAST, they need to be standard nearly met or above. Okay, that's what we're looking for reclassification. Let's talk about the role of the coordinator. It's really important to meet with STs and follow up on EL progress and attendance with their EL scholars. We want to make sure that our scholars are engaged. We really want to make sure we're catching those at-risk scholars, and we're actually providing that support. We don't want anyone falling through the cracks. That's really important. Really important to loop me in, whether it's a 504, an SST, tiered read engagement, IEPs, any issue related to the ELD course or EL progress, please loop me in and feel free to contact me for any help. Now, for our supervising teachers, I know that I'm going to be the TOR for the course, but I know that the teachers are working with the master agreements just to please ensure that the course is added in the SIS. Or if the scholar is asking to opt out, that it's not on there. If they opt out, we're hoping they don't. Contact coordinators for help if there's any issues with that. If the parent is looking into opting out, please contact me directly. It's important for STs to be discussing ELD and Lexia progress. All STs have access, that have ELs have access to Lexia, and they can easily go in and view those reports and just they can see those areas of gap that they have, and they can access skill builders. Everything is there. And I'm also happy to go through that if anyone needs any help. And of course, the connection meeting is very important. And to be incorporating those integrated ELD strategies in live-sync sessions. Reach out to me for any help or support, any supporting at-risk scholars, right? That's really important. I have some links here for the skill builders where they can be found. And again, just like before, just loop me in for 504s, SSTs, tiered re-engagement, IEPs, any issue related to the course or EL progress. And now we come to my favorite part. It's our celebrations. We have been making amazing gains since 2020. That's the first year that we implemented the ELD program. And as you can see, they're huge gains. So this slide shows the percent of reclassification for our ELs in our 3 charters over the last 3 school years. So the results clearly show significant gains in reclassification in all 3 of our charters since 2020, which is the first year we implemented the EL support program and our Lexia curriculum. So the data provided shows conclusive evidence that our EL program and Lexia curriculum are helping our EL scholars improve their English language acquisition. And with Lexia, we have seen, I'm just going to highlight the really important ones. You can always go back and look. But 66 of all of our scholars in Core 5 that met their usage targets advanced one or more grade level this for our 22-23 school year. 36 of them started the year working below grade level material. So what's cool about Core 5 is that because they're TK to 5th grade, it shows if they're on grade level or if they're not. So we had 36 of those kids that were working below their grade level. And with consistent usage, these scholars made substantial literacy gains. So 16% of them advanced at least one grade level in skills, and 11% of those 36 kids caught up to their grade level, or they went above. That is amazing. Now for our Power Up kiddos, at the start of the year, there was an average of 57% of these scholars that were working in the foundational zone. So with the older kids, it's not that they're working at 1st grade or 2nd grade level. It's just that they're exhibiting some gaps in those areas. So we saw that they had some gaps in that strand. And by the end of the year, an average of 29% of those kids, of those scholars, they were still working in foundational zone, and maybe just at one strand. Maybe they went up in the others. We saw a lot of them go up in reading comprehension. That was great. And an average of 28% of those scholars all moved up at least 2 zones from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And 46% of those scholars that met minimum usage moved up at least 2 zones. So maybe they went from foundational to advanced, which is great, because that showed that they were definitely gaining those skills and moving up and closing. And the way I see it is they're closing gaps. And when they close those gaps, that helps them perform better at their grade level, because they're gaining those skills that they were lacking in order to be successful. That's the whole point. And with our newcomers, we had actually 10 kids working in that. Not all of them were newcomers. Those were newcomers and emergents, but two of them were actually newcomers, and this was amazing. 2 of them finished Lexia English before the end of the school year. I was like actually blown away. One of them went into Core 5 and the other one went into Power Up. So if they complete that, then they can go into Core 5 or Power Up, because it shows that they're ready. But they were really working really hard in that program, and I was just really, really touched and really impressed by their dedication and hard work. They're just great kids. And of course, we didn't have any opt-outs. When I meet with our consortium, I meet with an EL consortium group with like schools that are just like us. They tend to have a lot of opt-outs, and I'm really proud to say that we don't. And it's because we're so personalized, and it's because we're so focused on our scholars as individuals. We don't just, hand out a form and say, okay, whatever, if you want to. No, we really care that they're getting their services. We want to make sure that they're getting the support. And that's how I see it is. Our staff here, we really care about our kids, and we're very personalized. So we've come to the end of this presentation, and I am here. You have all my contact. The best way to reach me is GChat and email. You can always call me too, but the best way to reach me is GChat. I'll get back to you much faster, and I'm open questions. No questions?
Christy, I had a question. This came from one of my STs. They were wondering, with you being the teacher of record for the ELD class, are you signing on the MA? Are you anywhere signing any of those things? Is that something that we need to think about, the acknowledgement of responsibilities or the MA, or is that not?
That's a great question.
I
I don't
can,
know.
I don't
so
think,
for,
go ahead, Judy.
oh, sorry, and that shouldn't be the case, because like in our online high school, they have their ST, which is their teacher of record. It just says now that the special education provider has to, or case manager has to be on it, but
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, so only special ed with the teacher and the parent and scholar.
Yep.
Okay. All right, great.
That's good.
Thanks.
That was easy.
Yeah.
That makes it easier for them. So I take care of the grades and they don't have to worry about it.
They don't have to chase you down for a signature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Christy, are we able to offer any language supports for learning coaches for the parents who are working with their EL scholars?
Well, that's actually a really great question. Actually, Melissa and I this year, we're going to be doing parent sessions. So, and we're something that we've been wanting to do for a while, and this year we're going to be able to do it. And we're going to be doing monthly sessions for our parents that are ELs and attending intervention. They have scholars that are ELs or attending intervention, where we're going to be offering them just support on how they can support their scholars as learning coaches, strategies, just the ins and outs of online school and virtual school. You know, I think our first session, Melissa's here, our first session is going to be focused on getting organized, you know, with a Google Calendar, organizing sessions, you know, setting up a schedule and so forth, which is really important because sometimes the hardest part is just getting them there. Once they show up, then we can really reach out and help them. And then we'll be taking it from there. Each month we'll be doing something different. That's how we're going to be supporting parents. But we do support parents often. I meet with parents all the time, and I know my tutors do too. We do have parents reaching out, or scholars that are just not engaged, and we like to reach out to find out why. Some parents are very receptive, and sometimes, you know, we need to bring in the ST and maybe have an SST and work that way. But you know, we're always trying. Any other questions? These are all great questions. Okay, who do I turn it over to?
I can take over. So thank you all. Those were some great questions. And just to kind of reiterate some of what Christy shared, we feel like our team has done a really great job these first 3 years of our department at kind of creating that really strong foundation. And so that's been one area that we really want to continue to hone in on and focus more on, is that family engagement piece. So I know Christy just spoke to that. So we'll be sharing more information with all of you, as well as the teams, when we kind of have that solidified. But that really has been the one thing that we kept thinking, like, how can we further build upon the sports? And we know that the more our families are engaged in their scholar learning, the better those scholars do as well. So we're hoping to really continue to build upon that support too. I was thinking of one other thing, but I wanted to let everyone know. So the links to the slide decks are not only in the FAQ, but if you go onto our guide site, there's and we're continuing to update the guide site as we're able to kind of update a lot for this next school year. But I was able to link all of these slide decks for the coordinators, because I think this is kind of concluding the last presentation from the academic support team. We will be having similar trainings for the supervising teachers throughout this month. But I did also drop these links to the slide decks as well as the recordings. So for the EL one, obviously I'll get that later today and I can update that accordingly, but you'll find some of these links as well within the guide site too. So you'll see those cross posted in a couple of different places. So we appreciate everyone being on to support. And again, I know a lot of you kind of chatted about it in the thread as well, but the improvements we've seen, it's been a group effort. It hasn't been just one team or one group of individuals to make that happen. So, you know, as Christy shared, that opt-out rate of 0 this last year, we have seen the last couple of years, we would have a couple of families like, oh, nope, not interested. But I think that as we've shared the data with the families, especially when Christy does have those discussions for families that do have some questions regarding the supports, I think that that really speaks to the value of the program. And so we want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of that work, because it hasn't been just one group or team to make that happen. So thank you for all that. And again, we're here if anything comes up throughout this month. If you ever are finding that you want to have you know, smaller meetings with us or discussions with us, we're completely open to that. If you ever want us to pop into a team meeting, if you're getting any, you know, questions or things that we can help better answer, we're always open to having and being a part of those as well. So thank you all so much. We'll share the recording for those that weren't able to attend. And then we look forward to continuing this work with the supervising teachers through the month of August. So thank you all so much. Appreciate your support. Have a great day, TGIF, or almost TGIF. I guess I'm wishful thinking. I saw Jen laugh. Thank you all. Have a great day.